Okay, before we leave this location, I have to ask about some of the other charges that you got hit with when you was 19. Some horrible charges against two women, I believe. Well, let me say two teenage girls, right?
Yeah, and two women.
Well, what can you tell us about that? When did that happen, and did that have anything to do with this?
Let me tell you, during a period in my life, I was experiencing like a lot of anger, resentment, unprocessed traumas, right? I think it's important for me to say that. And I think it's also important for me to say hurt people, right? And what I'm saying, what I'm alluding to is that in my community, one of the things that I experienced as a 6-year-old on my way to elementary school is I was kidnapped. And I was taken to a bathroom where I was sexually molested. I ended up running, getting away, but I didn't tell anybody about that. Not until I was an adult inside prison. And I've also experienced a molestation from an extended family member between the ages of 8 and 9. I think it's important to name that. And I also experienced it by a neighbor when I was 12 years old. I think it's important to mention that. And not having no safe space to share it, to unpack what happened to me in my life. You can imagine that it's going to come out. But also I think it's important for me to say is every crime that I committed with my homeboys first. No matter what crime it was. I can tell you the first time that I got that I involved in, unfortunately, a sexual assault was when my homeboy's sister was kidnapped from the county jail. Right? And she was sexually assaulted by the rivals. And so what happened was, see, that's just how it was with banging. Okay, you want to play this shit? Okay. So, end up going over in their neighborhood, but perpetrating the same crime on someone as well. So let me say, that's initially how I got involved with that. But I want to say that I was at such a low place in my life where not having an opportunity to address those unresolved issues, when something would happen in my teenage life that reminded me of my childhood trauma, I ended up going out perpetrating that same crime on unsuspecting victims, survivors.
Now, did this happen during those 4 days that you were on the run?
No.
Or prior to that?
This happened prior to that. I was engaged in that type of behavior prior to my arrest. Like I was off the chain out here, right? All forms of violence. Like I could say I was 18, I turned 19. And I could say that I got brought in for questioning twice for 2 crimes that I actually had done. But I had alibis. And they let me back out. They did blood tests and everything. So even though I had in my mentality, in my mind, that I wasn't gonna do it again because I got caught and they were on to me, I had yet to address those issues to why I did them in the first place. Do you understand? So when I got arrested for the murder, what happened was you had the detectives who were investigating the other crimes bring it to the DA. Hey, this is our guy. If we're going to get him, we got to get him now. And so they filed additional charges.
So I wanted to ask, like, regarding the sexual assault charges, were these girls that you knew? Were they from the other side?
So they were women in my neighborhood. There were 2 teenagers and two women in their 30s. The sexual assault with the teenagers happened at the same time.
And did they come to court on you?
Yes, they did come to court on me.
And what was it like dealing with that while you're in custody?
Well, misidentification. I was in denial about that, saying that they falsifying crimes against me, and so it wasn't even an issue. And I think it wasn't even an issue because, for the most part, like people knew who I was, and they knew my history, and so, in fact, I don't even think people knew that I was in prison for rape. They didn't even know that until I made it be known. And I did that when I was in San Quentin, because I felt that it was important for me to be able to address my issues, in terms of accountability, getting the lie off my chest. And I'm glad that I did, because the only way that you can resolve unresolved issues are by going back and looking at how did you get to a place where you can do this in the first place. You see, so I'm gonna say it again, hurt people hurt people. The same things that occurred to me in my life, whether it was sexual harm, whether it was gang violence or harm, were things that initially occurred to me, right? So I was taught these things. These was environmental things that, not having an opportunity to talk about. So just imagine when I get with a group of individuals who are experiencing similar harms and similar traumas, and then we go out and commit acts of violence on the community, how that validates us in so many ways.
So how was you able to keep that a secret from your fellow prisoners?
It wasn't even keeping it a secret. I don't talk about my business. I don't put, I didn't talk about nothing.
But don't sometimes they question what your charges are when you get there?
I was never questioned about anything. People, I'm gonna say it again. My reputation preceded me. Okay? My reputation preceded me. That's the best way I can put it.
But you've seen other prisoners come to a yard and get questioned on. Hey,
I've seen those type of things happen. I've seen those type of things occur many times. But again, see, when you're involved in gang activity, there is like a hierarchy.
Hey.
Yeah.
That's Donald Archie right there.
Okay, yeah.
It's been a long time since you've seen him.
Yeah. Look.
Sweetback.
Yeah. It's a hierarchy. It was a hierarchy.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And so the thing was this. People knew who I was from. They knew how I represented. They knew that I was violent. They knew that I would defend myself. I don't know what it was, the grace of God.